Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mr. Happy, aka Mr. Happy Mondays, the weekly Q&A show where you ask me questions and I answer them. This will be the last Mondays of Mr. Happy of 2018. I'm recording it on the 30th, and you guys on YouTube will see it on the 31st. We will be doing probably an extended stream for New Year's. I've got some beers that have been long awaiting an opening. There's special beers that you can only get like once a year, and there's different brews. It's from a brewery down in San Diego, and I've been meaning to crack those open for a while. So I'm looking forward to cracking those open after I'm done with my morning coffee tomorrow. Probably get some early afternoon drink and done with those. But hopefully everyone's had a good 2018. Looking forward to 2019. I don't do New Year's resolutions. I like to believe if you want to make a change, you just make it as soon as you think of it. You don't like set a date because it's more likely to fail. But if you are someone who does New Year's resolutions and you've got one planned out, hopefully it works out for you. 2019 is going to be kind of a redemption year for me after what was a really tough 2018 for a multitude of reasons. It's not really a resolution, but I definitely want to make sure my 2019 is better than my 2018. That's about all I can hope for when it comes to everything on the channel, personal life, all sorts of different stuff. But we've got questions to answer. So I've only got a few from the forums. I actually forgot to post the forums until like Thursday last week because someone came into my stream and asked me where it was. So thank you to that individual. But I am live on Twitch this week, so maybe we'll have some questions come from the Twitch chat as well. But we got to thank our sponsors over on Patreon first. So thank you to your Patreon sponsors who have been supporting the channel, not only through hashtag demonetized, but through some tougher times as well throughout the year. Times where I wasn't able to create as much content. You guys help with the motivation. It all helps, but these help as well. So we have our Patrons of Light first. We have Khuja Cross on Jenova and Kurenai Oni on the YouTube side of things. You guys will see an image for both of them that they've provided. They've just supported well and above. They've gone above all the tiers and everything on Patreon and just gone crazy when it comes to the support. So thank you, you two. And I look forward to seeing you, and hopefully you enjoy the content going into 2019. We also have the rest of our sponsors, and it's a long list, so apologies in advance. Start with our standard sponsors. We have Wabatalia, Alma Elma, Dark Lumina from Jenova, Marianne, Remedial Gaming, Sabo Empire, Mizra, Red Wings of the Baron FC from Zalera, Cidus Oreo on Shiva, Syd Hellwind of Gilgamesh, Afro Ninja from Malboro, Cheesecake from Leviathan, That Lame Weeb, Ashen, Emiya of Cerberus, Fafarian, Rendil, Stevie-Rex, and Neon. We have our elite sponsors. We have Nyrek Bizzle of the Red, Krista Uzuki, Crazed Meteor of Midgard, Rajan Ventinus on Cactar, Carol, Ray, Senchi, Shadowlink on Tonberry, Dom, Asuka Wake from Jenova, Limilla Nelhah of Midgard Sarma, Saren the Fana Family, Janhyua Yotsuyu, Kifkin the Great Eagles on Exodus, Dark Graver, Katayoshi from Khuja, Skia Symphonia from Ragnarok, Rylanator Westaus The Purple Warrior, Yadrik Red Seal on Exodus, Lexxie Valentine, Mantaru the Rivivus FC from Zodiac, Sour Cream and Chives from Jenova, Rynoet Chikara, Goichi Valfer of Siren, Phoenix Down FC on Goblin, and Saren from Zodiac. And finally, we have our premium sponsors. We have Zaravire of Coworl, Alchemy, Shinka, Casual Heroes FC on Midgard Sarma, Tatachi Taka on Hyperion, Kana Uzuki of Jenova, Yu Starla on Coearl, Sathal, Sarah Frost from Behemoth, Holy Tabasco, Red Thorn, Sarah Crass 015, Mustang, Serenity FC on Ultros, Kat Kazuma, Ignis Farragut from Excalibur, Valestra Fanfare, Not Quarters from Excalibur, Corvus Moonscar, Private Mikey, Nadia Kurosami, Rudy Rudiger, Killer Hackman, Wall Jr., Fantastic Jones. Jesus! I always like to do it in one breath, see if I can do it in a challenge. But thank you to all of our sponsors over on Patreon. With that, let's get into the 6 questions we have on the forums, and then we'll see what the Twitch chat can come up with, if anything. All right, question number 1. Hey there, Haps. Happy holidays to you. Hope you're doing all right. I'm doing all right. You doing all right? I'm doing all right. Happy holidays to you, too. French guy again. So sorry in advance for any grammar mistakes. Still studying the language. No problem with me. 2 questions this week, if that's okay. I have no problem. It's only 6 questions on the forums after all anyway. So my first question is, 14's main story quests are quite casual. I mean that in sense you don't really need to grind or pay a whole lot of attention to get through it. I was wondering, can you go through 11's story the same way? Or is there a lot of grinding involved or anything else that would stop you in the story progression? I've been thinking about going into the game at least to experience the story because Final Fantasy, but I don't know if I can complete it before Shadowbringers. So, as a fresh player, it's probably going to seem a little daunting. The number one thing you tend to do is you follow a guide on the BG Wiki it's called the 1 to 119 guide on BG Wiki, and that'll get you to item level 119 from a fresh level 1 player. But it used to be something you would spend a lot of grinding hours working on. I'd say that there's a lot of hours involved in completing all those quests, but I wouldn't necessarily say that you need to do a crazy amount of thinking or anything like that. There's a few quests towards the end of Rhapsodies and Seekers of Adulin that might catch you a little bit off guard. And there's a few that are going to be annoying along the way, despite vastly out-leveling them across all the expansions. But the vast majority of them, as long as you have a wiki guide up and you're willing to like look up where to go for each of the story quests, you probably wouldn't have too much of a hard time making it through the story, even with a lack of familiarity with Final Fantasy XI in itself, at least nowadays. Second question, do you remember Ala Mhigo? You know that city that was supposed to be as much a focus as Doma? Yeah, me neither. Seriously, I feel that Ala Mhigo's side of the story wasn't really something the developers wanted to do, but felt they had to since it was a plot point to resolve sooner rather than later. Which is a shame, because I love the most parts of the side of Stormblood, especially for Dola, but she isn't even seen in the 4.5 trailer, so I don't even think they'll give her more closure than short story we got some months ago. Anyway, all that to ask, what did you think about how the devs handled the story of Ala Mhigo? Definitely not handled as interestingly. Back when 4.1 came out, it was definitely the most satisfied I've been with a with an expansion follow-up patch in terms of story. 2.1 and 3.1 for me left a lot to be desired, and 4.1 kind of wrapped up Ala Mhigo in a pretty, concise way. It didn't wrap up Fordola's side of the story. Obviously, she got the tales from the Stormblood that you're referring to. And I would love to see more of her, and I have a feeling we will. Tales of the Stormblood always kind of dives into these bonus backstory things that don't really see much in the way of mention in the main game. So I suspect we'll see her quite a bit going into what's about to happen. It's a pretty big deal, everything that's about to happen, and I feel that she definitely want in on that, even if we haven't seen her yet. She may be playing such a big role, they're trying to keep her out of a lot of the scenes, especially going into part 2. But we don't know. We just kind of have to assume that she's going to play some degree of, she's going to have some degree of importance going into the expansion. So curious to see what actually happens with her. But yeah, Ala Mhigo, it just ended so abruptly. Like, we are going to kind of go back to Ala Mhigo for this next part. You have to remember that the Gimlet Dark is between Ala Mhigo and the Empire. So they are basically moving throughout the Gimlet Dark to invade Ala Mhigo and take it back. That is what is happening right now for 4.5. So it is going to come a little bit more into the forefront, but I don't know by how much. I feel like the events of Shadowbringers will kind of not really give Ala Mhigo any more chance to shine than it already has. Oh, I also noticed there's this bonus question. You lied, there's 3. Why do you mute sound effects in games? I find them distracting. Sometimes I can do background music, but hearing people's content, slash, club, spell sound, it's just like, no, I'm focusing. Stop it, you're clouding everything, all these sounds. If I hear the background music, maybe I can relate the in-game mechanics to the background music, like the timing, but that's about it. So that's the main reason why. All right, question number 2. Hey, Haps, it's your flippin' birthday. Well, when I'm reading this, it's not. It was when you asked me. You asked this on the 27th, which was my birthday. Wow, it's almost like my name has that number in there somewhere. Anyway, thank you for the happy birthday wishes, and thank you for the Patreon sponsorship. I had to make sure. I went back and I was like, I'm positive somebody did that for my birthday, so I made sure to make sure you were included in that opening. Made sure I didn't miss it. So the question for you this week is, how do you feel like your content has changed throughout your 14 career? I've just followed about all over the years, so I was hoping you might elaborate on growth as a creator. As an aside, I want to say how much I admire your strength. I know it's been a really tough year for you, and I'm proud of you for continuing through. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Peace. Thank you for the kind words. I'd say my perspective on things has changed a lot in the 5 years I've done content on YouTube. One of the biggest things is people used to see me as a guru that should know everything. So I tried to know everything, and that didn't pan out. Now it's a lot more sourcing back to people who are known experts at certain things, whether it be proficiency on certain jobs or people who do lore related stuff. Like, kind of just respect that other people are in the space a little bit more and not try to be some know-it-all guy who everybody should know and absolutely has to know. I don't want to be that guy. I didn't ever mean to be that guy, but I felt like I was kind of forced into that role by the community. I actually did a Reddit AMA recently, and there was a pretty big topic there where people were asking about editing guides, doing revisions for them. And I started doing them, and I noticed something about revisions for guides on YouTube in that the first one that gets posted, people see. And then when I repost the revision, nothing. It could be like literally like 8 hours apart, but it just tanks for whatever reason. And I really wish YouTube had a means of kind of replacing a video's location with a link. So like if I make a revision, I'd like to be able to kind of overwrite where the previous one was and have it continue on based on my revisions. That would be really cool. It's probably not so easy to do on the back end, but that would make doing revisions a lot better, and it would feel a lot better as a creator to put the time into doing revisions if they did stuff. You can't even do annotations anymore. They discontinued allowing you to do them, and I think they're outright removing them from all videos at the beginning of next year. So can't even do that anymore. So that's those are a few things, but I've also felt more comfortable diving into other RPGs and Final Fantasy games and stuff like that throughout my time on YouTube. I want to do a lot more discussion related things because they're videos I like to do, and they do pretty well on YouTube. People are always looking for a place to discuss their opinions, and granting them another location is something I like to do. So hopefully it works out in 2019. Question number 3. Hello, Mr. Happy. I'll get to the point. All right. Hello to you too. Let's do it. What do you think about the writing in 14? I don't mean the storytelling. I find that to be good. However, I find the writing for quests and side quests to be a little too wordy. Way too wordy. It drags on and on. When I try to read it, I find myself just zoning out and skipping through it. I'll read the main story, but almost any other quest, I find myself skipping them more and more. I think they should shorten the amount of text. I don't. So my thing is, I prefer to read or find out concisely about quests through things like the lore book. And the lore book is as wordy as things are going to get. I don't think they're too wordy per se, but I think when it's something as low scale in terms of kind of like world ending possibility, that the attention span to, I guess, invest into it definitely goes way down. If somebody's just talking to me about how their horses got out and that takes longer than 2 seconds, I don't care, because I don't care about their horses getting out. Now, if it's somebody who's like talking about this evil force that's like resting beneath a certain area in the world and their lover went and hasn't been seen in 6 months, I might pay a bit more attention, even if it's not the main story, if it's something along those lines. So there needs to be a degree of threat, and I feel like for quests that have a lower degree of threat or a lower degree of world building, yeah, they could probably do that. And unfortunately, the only way to distinguish how important something is in terms of world building is to read it in the first place. So maybe I don't know, maybe they could change that approach in the back end, so I know if there's like barely any text, it's not super important. It's just kind of like there for the sake of being a side quest. But for quests that are super wordy, maybe just make it a little more obvious as opposed to shortening the amount of text. As my chat just brought up, a great place for side quests is the Azim Steppe. There's a ton of great side quests there with a ton of great dialogue. Thinking back to Heavensward, there's the Chocobo quests, the Chocobo trapping quests in the Dravanian Forelands. That's another great example. But there's also tons of quests that just don't have interesting dialogue. So it's a tough middle ground, but maybe just approaching those less important quests with less dialogue, so you know very quickly it's not super important, might be an approach they could take. And by the way, no problem, and have a happy new year as well. Oh my word. There's a lot of text here. Speaking of a lot of text, hey man, first time trying to ask anything, but an on and off viewer since late Heavensward. More of a discussion point than a true question, but I'd like to know your viewpoint on my idea. So one of the big things, and I like to bring this up whenever it pops up on Mondays with Mr. Happy, tons of people have ideas, tons of people have discussion points, but when I have an idea is a thing, generally it leads to me kind of skipping through, because there's not really much room. It's a what do you think, and it's a that's all right, or I don't like it. Like it is very rarely it very rarely kind of leads to anything on the YouTube video. So I like to take these opportunities when people do stuff like this to just let everyone know who's watching that it just doesn't ever amount to really anything. Because I always say, even for myself, like people kind of regard my ideas kind of on a little bit higher of a pedestal, and I don't. I think my ideas are kind of the same, or kind of on the same plane as everyone else's. They're all just ideas. None of us are working on the game. But I guess let me just skim through it real quick. Let's see. When, as far as tangent, organize these thoughts in a way on the screen. I feel I can make a chart or verbally speak. Yeah, we don't have time for all of that. Let's see. What do you think? Let's see. Weapon change wouldn't matter. Change class, tank. So it sounds like I can already kind of tell where we're going with this one. And this is a little bit too much. I can already tell you one job doing multiple roles. I guess technically with Blue Mage, you're seeing that's not an impossibility. They are giving Blue Mage a tank stance in the form of Mighty Guard, but to actually make one job multiple roles, you're probably never going to see that. One of the main reasons why one job becoming multiple roles isn't a thing in Final Fantasy XIV is because you can already play every job on one character. So anytime they want to do jobs that can be, anytime they want to fulfill a new role, they make a new job. Mostly because, you don't need You don't need that versatility. Something like WoW, where you have one job per character, one class per character. You need the multiple specs to give the player some options. Otherwise, they have to make a brand new character, which is fine, but we don't have that. So anytime they have a new idea, they just make it a new job, as opposed to one job that can be multiple things. Now, you're specifically referring to Blue Mage. Keep it as it is. Release an offhand or unique version of the weapon similar to Arcanist that allows a bunch of different options, or each expansion would include a new set of abilities. But it sounds, I will say, at least you don't seem to be kind of moving it away from its limited aspect. But unfortunately, this is so much here that it's not really, this isn't the place for this discussion, I guess is the best way to put it. So thank you for taking the time to write all this out, but there's not much I can say other than yes or no. So there's not really a whole lot of room for, I guess, any sort of growth in this question. So I'm just going to move on to the next one. Question number 5. Hey, Mr. Happy. Hey, a bit late, but happy birthday to you. Thank you. And hopefully that and your holiday went well. As a bonus, somehow, some way, Puppet Masters releases a new job in 5.0. No, it's going to be a new limited job in 6.5, but, we'll go with that. Thanks. A few questions, though, depending on how much time you have. I have plenty of time, don't worry. One, since we know Blue Mage's damage will be based around their armor rather than the weapon, so you think Crafted or Tombstone Gear will be best? Well, the higher the item level, the better the stats, generally, is the theme we go. The old Crafted Gear from back in A Realm Reborn was not very good. It didn't conform to the way that Crafted Gear works now. When the level cap gets raised, that may change. When you get to level 60, 70, and kind of the available crafted sets there will, maybe make it a little bit better. But for now, I'd expect upgraded Tombstone or Dreadworm to be really the only place you're looking to go. 2, a possible spoiler question going into 5.0. Well, we don't know anything about 5.0 yet. We know Shadowbringers, and we're going to become the Warrior of Darkness. So anything after that, you can't really say it's spoilery, because we don't know anything definitively yet. So I'm not going to do a spoiler warning for this. Just a heads up. Do you feel we're going to split our time in 5.0 within a new shard and Garlemald, similar to how we did in Alamiga or Doma? This again all depends on if we are going to another shard. If you're unfamiliar with shards as a terminology in 14, basically there is the source, which where we are, and this is kind of like the base world that all the other worlds are based off of. So all the other shards are basically duplicates of our world, and they have their own existences, their own plights, their own problems, their own progressions to go through. And then we're on the source. A big theory with 5.0 is we're going to go to another shard, especially if you've seen the trailer, the throw wide the gates that we may pass. I'm constantly talking about opening the gates. We see a physical gate that almost looks to be a portal between worlds. So it's a big theory that we're going through with 5.0 at this point. And then also Garlemald, it's not even Garlemald, it's Ilsabard, though. That's a huge continent where Garlemald is. So it is a very big question. I definitely think we're going to make some progress into Ilsabard, but I can't answer the other side of that without knowing if we're going to another shard or not. We may just be interacting with another shard through dungeons or quests or anything like that, but not physically going there as its own zones. Maybe not even until towards the end of Shadowbringers itself. I've been meaning to ask you since... Oh, here's another question. I've been meaning to ask this since you and Sly had mentioned it several times during State of the Realm. What the heck do you mean behind a normal day? So normal day is a meme that started over in my channel, over on Twitch. Basically, a bunch of people... It was just a day where a lot of people were tipping or cheering, which is the Twitch equivalent of basically doing a tip through their in-app services. Subscribing, which over on Twitch is a paid thing. It's follower for... the subscriptions on YouTube is the equivalent to follower on Twitch, where subscriptions are paid subscriptions over on Twitch. So when people just go nuts on that stuff and there's just a ton of monetary support in a given day, we just go, nope, just having a completely normal day. Nothing out of the ordinary here, guys. Moving on. It's almost like you're trying to cover up the fact that some crazy shit has happened, but at the same time, it's kind of like a flag in its own to let people know crazy shit is happening. So that's what a normal day is over in Twitch. It's a key word for people are monetarily supporting me way too much, given that nothing important is happening right now. Anyway, thanks as always. Keep up the good work going in 2019. Thank you, and hopefully you continue to enjoy the content in 2019. And this is the final question over on the forums, and then we'll get to some Twitch questions. We should have time for a few of them. Anyway, hey Haps, how you doing? I'm doing all right. You doing all right? I'm doing all right. 2 quick ones and a tough one. Well, they all fit on the screen, so that's pretty good. So 2017 was Crash Bandicoot meme. What's your meme for 2018? One meme? You can't ask a memester for one meme. Oh, I don't know. There's so many memes. How do I pick one? Can I pick normal day from the previous question as my meme? Because I don't have one meme. I can't pick one. That's impossible. I can't even remember I don't even know what year memes are from at this point. They just kind of fade in and out of existence. Like, I'm just like, ha, meme, ha, meme, ha, meme. When was that meme? I don't remember the first time I saw that meme. They're just, I don't know. I don't have an answer. There's a lot of good memes. What's your favorite moment of State of the Realm this year? God, we've had so many. These are tough. I'm never prepared for these. I'm one of those people that needs to like see a list of all the options and then pick one, because I can't remember the time or the day or the week for any specific event. I remember that they happened, but when they happened is tough. Like, my chat just gave me one that would definitely be near the top of the list. And it's Sly breaking his headset. That's actually a pretty recent one. And but like, I don't really know if that's like the best one or my favorite moment, but that is something I thought was fucking hilarious. You know, there's Long Live the Train, there's Sly had ACT triggers for the burn, and I made fun of him for that. Like, there's so many. I don't know which one it is. Like, and those are all just the most recent ones. There's probably ones from back in January, February. Other stuff, like, there's so many things, so much room for activities. I don't know. I don't have a good answer. Those are just a few that my chat have named that I think are funny. So you mentioned about dealing with complaints and avoiding to tell people to play something else, but I got a person who's playing occasionally and still complains about content even before it's out. How should I be discussing things with a person like them? So let me tell you about people who. So here's the thing. Let's be clear. Complaining about something before it comes out because you don't like the concept. Perfectly acceptable thing. When it becomes a problem when they tell you your lack of pessimism or your lack of sharing their outlook. If they start giving you a hard time because of that, that's when you know. You get up, you do this, you go, see ya, and you walk away. That's it. Conversation's over, because they don't want to have a conversation. They want you to agree with them. And it's never worth talking to somebody who doesn't actually want to have a conversation. If they just want to spout whatever they think and they want you to agree, that they're looking for an echo chamber. And if you don't fit in their echo chamber, they're trying to push you out of it or pull you in. And they want to pull you in more than they want to push you out. It's super fucking annoying. So if you're good friends with this person, kind of just accept you cannot have a discussion with them about it. Or if they end up liking it, which they probably won't, Blue Mage in particular, because I know that's what this conversation is about, then just never talk to them about it. That's it. Just never do it. This is a conversation. You just never have this conversation with them and you're good. That's it. You just avoid people who are, because a lot of times the conversation's not worth the trouble. It's just not. I don't think it is. Anyway, sure, that's not really the greatest of answers, but I didn't really answer any of the 3 questions well, did I? Either way, that's what I got. So let's see if the Twitch chat has any good questions. If not, I'll end the video here. You guys will see me edit to the end where I go, never mind, there were no good questions, blah, blah, blah. And if there are good questions, then we'll edit them in. So Twitch chat, let's see what you got. All right, so there were no questions that I wanted to include in Mondays. There was a lot of stuff that I've either answered in previous weeks or just kind of points that are kind of beaten to death, or I've done videos on them recently. You know, a lot of, Blue Mage, like, could they do this? Can they make it a normal job? Just a lot of questions I've kind of just done a lot. So I didn't include any of them, but I still answered all of them. And yes, this is a back scratcher. It's just flipped the wrong way. But anyway, with that, that's going to be a wrap for this episode of Mondays with Mr. Happy. If you've got questions, I'll remember to include a link this time. Last week, I didn't remember. To the forum. If you go to the description of the video, there's a Dream Network forum right there. Go there, ask your questions. At the very least, you guarantee that I see it. And if there's as long as it's something that's answerable, I'll do my best. And thank you again to our Patreon sponsors. Not going to list them all out again, but just a fun follow-up. Thank you. And hopefully everyone has a happy New Year. Hopefully you all go out and celebrate for New Year's Eve and have fun and drink and be with friends and all that. I'll probably be live streaming, but you guys all go do that fun thing. Well, I go and do my own thing. So anyway, thank you everyone for watching. Twitch, I'll be hanging out for a few more minutes, but on YouTube, I will see you all next week. And until then, take care.